and I'd like to thank them for being here today. We have Sandra Williams with California National Organization for Women, and Elizabeth Sweet.
Thank you. All right, your first witness, please.
Hi, Chair and members. California now strongly supports SB 899. In 1994, Assemblywoman Jackie Spear, chair of the Assembly Committee on Consumer Protection, commissioned a report that found that women in California pay $1,351 a year for similar goods and services. Adjusting for inflation, that number is now well over $2,000. This means that in addition to losing $39 billion a year to the gender wage gap, Californian women are collectively spending $41 billion more than men a year to purchase things that everyone needs. Women are getting paid less and have to pay more for everyday goods. That should not be tolerated. The New York City Department of Consumer Affairs report highlighted how women are constantly paying more for everyday goods. These price differences not only include toys and razors, but everyday hygienic and healthcare products that both men and women use. For example, shampoo and hair conditioner on average cost 48% more, sports and braces 15% more, personal urinals for the elderly cost 21% more, even canes are 12% more. The opposition to this bill opposes this bill because they believe that it will result in frivolous litigation, the same argument they made for years fighting equal pay for equal work. It's the same argument they used against expanding protections for unpaid leave to mothers and fathers who need to take time off to take care of sick or dying child. It's the same argument they're using now to oppose a bill to give protections to parents for taking time off to care for a newborn child. Don't let businesses' fear of litigation stop you from voting for laws that protect against discrimination and protect families. And I'd like to add back to the Senator's comment about people not knowing the prices. You're in different parts of the store. You have no idea what's costing. I always can go back to the Affordable Care Act. The fact that we now are able to see transparently what these prices are has led to the ACA to stop the practice of gender rating, which made women pay upward of 40% more for health care insurance. Because legislation is in place, we now have reduced that disparity. And I think this bill is in that same wheelhouse to sort of make things transparent and point out the ridiculousness of women being charged more for products for no other reason than gender. So I strongly urge your support for this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Good morning, and thank you to the committee and to Senator Waso for sponsoring this bill. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Sweet. I'm a sociologist and lecturer at UC Davis and at Sacramento State, and I study gender in children's toys and the gender marketing of children's toys over time. In my work, I find that the gender marketing of toys is more pervasive today than it has ever been before. And there is some anecdotal evidence to suggest that the same is true of adult consumer products. While historically the majority of children's toys were not categorized according to gender, today manufacturers and retailers routinely label most, if not all, of their products by gender. Major toy companies like Mattel, Hasbro, and Lego classify most of their product lines according to gender. And a 2012 study found that all of the toys in one major retail outlet were categorized by gender. The opposition is correct that gender-differentiated products like toys are not good for children. Research has demonstrated that gender-defined toys can have negative effects on children's interests and aspirations. Because of this, many, including the White House, have called for an end to gender stereotyping in children's toys. The opposition is incorrect, however, in their claim that the practice of gender-differentiated products like toys is not already routine. The fact is that most toys and children's products are already gender classified. Even when toys and products are not explicitly labeled according to gender, studies of toys have found that color is one of the primary features that people use to categorize them. These studies tell us that color serves as an implicit yet powerful gender label. Given this, the practice of pricing pink versions of toys an average of 7% more than non-pink versions discriminates on the basis of gender. I strongly support SB 899 because it will help prevent these kinds of discriminatory practices, and I respectfully ask that you move this legislation forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly member.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I was presenting in a different committee, but Chair and members, I'm here as a principal co-author of this bill and in support, obviously, of AB 899. And I know you've heard a lot about the bill, but I want to talk as a personal experience as a mother of both a girl and a boy. Quite frankly, a lot of even what was in the analysis of this bill suggests that, retailers aren't sure if it's supposed to be a girl or a boy item. That's absolutely false. I think any of us who spend a lot of time and I don't want to name any retailer, clearly not Walmart for me, but a retailer that markets and displays products, it is very clear what is being displayed for girls and for boys. And although we would like to live in a society where perhaps you say the blue scooter would be acceptable for the girl, and maybe for some girls it is, many girls, in fact mine, wanted the pink scooter. That's what she wanted. But for the fact that she wanted pink, it cost incredibly more than the blue one. I had a daughter 7 years before I had a son, and it was always shocking to me at the cost of items 7 years later were cheaper, the same items marketed towards boys than were marketed towards girls. We've seen it not only in scooters, but in the helmets of scooters, in the t-shirts that are sold that are exactly the same t-shirt, but for who they're being marketed for. Now, it's easy to say, of course, that maybe we should just redefine what children want or what adults want, but maybe we should just redefine what the problem is. If the problem is that we take products that women want to buy, that girls want to buy, that girls are marketed towards, quite frankly, because of a section in a store, and ensure that they can't be discriminated about just on the basis of it being marketed towards a female versus a male. I think this is obvious. I think when the original act was put forward, this is what was imagined. We're here decades later with the same problem. It hasn't been corrected. And I think just the fact that this bill has been introduced and we've talked about these razors, we already see changes happening. I don't think that this will cause some gross amount of lawsuits. I think what it'll cause is an adjustment in the way that retailers and wholesalers and manufacturers do business. And any of us with children who have seen this up in front know that this exists. As an adult, yeah, fine. I can rationally look at the razor displays and go cross-compare between the men's blue razor and the woman's pink razor. But we also know that society as a whole, we're acting quickly, we're looking at what's being marketed to our children, that this is absolutely happening. And this is, I think, a bill that is as smart and effective just by its introduction and being able to discuss this at the next level as it is by its implementation. And I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Anyone else in support? If you could give us your name and your affiliation, please.
Good morning. Richard Holliber, Consumer Federation of California. We're the sponsor of the bill. Can I say anything more, or you want to limit it?
I'll give you some
well, thank you. Just to say that I think this bill addresses a very real, very pervasive, and very intentional form of discrimination. It's not just a coincidence that almost or virtually identical products, distinguishable only by virtue of how they're labeled, how they're marketed, and how they're packaged, cost more when they're marketed and sold for the use of a woman. This is done on purpose by business because they know that they can get away with it, and it is wrong and should be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily Resch, Executive Director with CalPIRG, the California Public Interest Research Group, in strong support.
Thank you.
Jamie Kinnerk, UCLA student, Executive Board Member of CalPIRG, also in support.
Gregory Kramer on behalf of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California in support.
Adam Ledmont on behalf of the ACLU of California in support.
Kim Rutledge with UDW, AFSCME Local 3930 in strong support. Noah Paramo, representing California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation, in strong support. Thank you.
We do have a motion. Anyone else in support?
Mr. Chair, members, Cliff Cost on behalf of California New Car Dealers Association. We are just removed our opposition, so I wanted to get in before the opposition did, and wanted to thank the author for working with us to address our concerns, and we have officially removed our opposition, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in support or newly removed opposition? Seeing none, opposition, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. Jennifer Burr on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, and we are opposed to SB 899. I want to first acknowledge that the intent of this bill is obviously a noble and worthy cause. We don't want to encourage or support any type of gender discrimination in the economy at all. And there was a lot of different bills talked about during the discussion, and certainly wage disparity and equal pay was addressed, and that was something that we actually supported last year to strengthen California's equal pay law. So I do believe that businesses have identified the fact that we are not in support of encouraging gender discrimination of any kind. But with that said, we don't believe that this bill will actually achieve the results that the author and the proponents have suggested. First, I want to talk at the very beginning about what we're really dealing with here. It's not that if Senator Hueso and I go and both purchase the same blue razor, that at the point of purchase, the store is saying to me, Jennifer, we're going to charge you a higher price for this exact same product because you're a woman. That's not what is happening. That's not what this bill is about at all. And so to suggest that the exact same product is being charged at a different price just because a person is a male versus female is not what's going on. Now, this discussion is about products and substantially similar, right? And so we're expanding the current law that is applicable to services to all products in the economy aside from food products, and saying that any substantially similar product must be priced the same. Well, substantially similar is vague. I appreciate that the author has tried to define it. But from the face value, a consumer looking at two different products won't know whether or not 90% of the ingredients are the same. They're not going to sit there and check the label. If they're not going to go to a different aisle and check a different price, they're not going to sit there and check the label of two products and determine whether or not those are substantially similar. Rather, they're going to get the products and they are going to allege that I was charged a different price for something substantially similar, and it's going to be on the business owner to prove that the products, in fact, did not satisfy the definition of substantially similar. Additionally, we've heard about the pink scooter, the blue scooter, the pink razor, the blue razor, and I appreciate that those were identified in the New York City study, and that the time that snapshot was taken, that the prices may have been different. But as the analysis identifies, when they went on Amazon, the prices actually were flipped, where the blue razors were more expensive than the pink razors. So at any time when you take a snapshot of the economy and those prices are different, there could be a ton of reasons for that price differentiation aside from gender. What were the inventory at the time? What were the regional prices at the time? What was the cost of that product, and are they the exact same brand, and are they the exact same ingredients, etc.? There are different factors that go into pricing other than gender, and I appreciate again that the author has taken those into consideration and has put those differences into the bill. But the struggle that we have is that none of those issues ever come up until the retailer is already subject to litigation, until the complaint is filed, and then we have to prove that it was based upon something other than gender. I also want to address the issue of whether or not we are getting into stereotyping goods. Look, again, when you bring up the pink razor and the blue razor and the pink scooter and the blue scooter, maybe those are easy to sit there and identify, although I would argue that I have a daughter as well who doesn't like pink and would want nothing to do with the pink scooter, would want the blue one. But we're suggesting that pink must be for a girl. We're identifying that a particular color means that that must be a woman's product. Okay, so we get past those examples and you get into all the thousands of other consumer products that this is applicable to, and whether or not it's a woman's product versus a man's product is not so easily to discern. You can't sit there and identify what goods are a woman's product versus a man's product and make sure that those are substantially similar and priced at the exact same rate. Maybe they're not marketed to a woman versus a man. Maybe it's just a consumer product in general, and the retailer has to then engage and determine whether or not it needs to be priced the same because it's a substantially similar product to a man's product. It's an impossible task for a retailer to get involved with, and it's impossible for them to determine. The other part that I wanted to address is with regards to, hey, this is going to help consumers. Look, retailers are in the business to make money. And if we think that a retailer is going to then just take the prices of all goods and reduce them to the lowest common price, that's not going to happen. Instead, the reverse effect is going to happen, where the retailer will actually increase to the highest price with regards to how much it costs them from the wholesaler distributor to put that on sale, given all the other inventory and cost-effective issues that come into play when they're pricing something. And so for the woman who has a lower purchasing power now, it's not going to actually improve their purchasing power at all. In fact, you're going to take away the potential option of purchasing a reduced price of another product. That doesn't help with the intent of this bill to actually improve the purchasing power of women. With regards to litigation, I'm going to allow our witness to talk about that with regards to the services tax, but some of the issues that we have seen already is that men's group have actually gone out and sued businesses who have tried to offer lower prices to women and actually improve their purchasing power. They've gone out and sued under the Gender Services Tax Repeal Act to challenge it, saying that they are being discriminated against on their gender because some woman was offered a cheaper price. I'm going to now turn it over to the witness, Jose Panagua.
Next witness in opposition, please.
Hello, my name is Jose Paniagua. I live in the city of Riverside, and I'm proud to say that I'm also a small business owner. A business that has been established for service almost 10 years. The reason I'm here to let the people know of the assembly how negative and critical damage will impact business if SB 899 was to pass to be a law. We as the business owners already have issues with lawsuits in Riverside because of the 1995 Section 56(1) based on gender discrimination. My beauty salon and 10 other small businesses are being sued by these two people. He is an immigration lawyer and she is the girlfriend. Girlfriend becomes a lawyer's client. These laws are only given the right. These laws are only given the right for any other person and lawyers the opportunity to sue and earn easy money, while in the meantime we are working hard to support our families and keep jobs for other employees. My business pays my mortgage, my car payment, and the most important, my family's food and clothes. And to prevent from asking social service help for all my family, like welfare, like food stamps, as well all my employees' needs. If you were to pass this law and not have any regulations to protect the small business, there's no doubt we will get more lawsuits and the owners to come out with a negative idea of closing down business for being afraid of getting sued over huge amount of money. We don't have money to pay losses from $60,000 to $100,000. For this reason, to charge a difference from a woman's haircut and compared to a man's haircut, even though we do explain to our customers the standard labor and procedures it takes for a woman's hair and compared to a man's haircut. All 10 businesses gather to help each other and find out why we're getting lawsuits. Example, one store cleaner charged 50 cents more on a blouse and compared to a men's t-shirt for service. Now, for the 50 cents difference, the cleaners have to deal with the $100,000 lawsuit. This is already having a bad impact for business, as it is. Can we imagine if SB 899 passed into a law for products? One more hard reason to kill jobs and close down business. Urge to be in favor and not to give the chance for others to come and take what we have built. Thank you for your time and hope the Assembly makes a positive and wise decision.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Margaret Gladstein on behalf of the California Retailers Association in opposition.
Mr. Chair, Chris McKaylee on behalf of the Civil Justice Association of California in opposition, and just drew this little four-part chart that a retailer is going to have to go through in a legal analysis under this legislation.
Mr. Chair and members, Larissa Cespedes on behalf of the Toy Industry Association in opposition.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the committee. Questions, comments? Mr. Wagner?
Thank you. I'm struggling with this. the framework here. The Unruh Act prohibits discrimination on the basis of a whole bunch of different things. You can't deny somebody the right to hotel, sit at a lunch counter based on their immutable characteristics. That's not a good fit here. If I go to the store to buy a pink razor for my wife, I'm being a dutiful husband, but I'm going to get charged the wife price. And if I go buy a pink scooter for my daughter, I'm being a diligent father, but I'm going to get charged the daughter price. And I go and buy the blue razor for me, I'm going to get charged the guy price. I'm not going to get charged differently, and I'm not going to be treated differently on account of my gender. I'm going to be treated differently on account of the product I buy in response to marketing, in response to studies and decisions that the manufacturer or the retailer has made. It's not a civil rights issue. You're intruding into the marketplace and doing so on a basis that is something completely unrelated to the person, which is what the Unruh Act is supposed to protect. So help me with that, because I just don't see, frankly, I don't see the connection.
Well, you don't see the connection, but it is a civil rights issue, and discrimination should be illegal in our country and in our state. And there is no doubt that discriminatory practices are taking place in the marketplace today. There is ample evidence. There is anecdotal evidence. There are numerous studies. You have, obviously, an entire industry here coming in opposing something that is going to affect their profits. There's no doubt about that. I understand that. I'm sympathetic to that. And I'm sympathetic to the process of lawsuits. But when you look at how we can enforce the law and carry it through and get people to respect that and get people to change their practices, we need a law. We need a law. We need to strengthen the Unruh Act. We need to clarify the Unruh Act. We need to state that the Unruh Act exists for a very important purpose, to protect the rights of the few from the potential tyranny of the masses, to protect the rights of the weakest in our population that often don't have the wherewithal to defend themselves or to properly educate themselves or to oftentimes have the convenience to have multiple retail outlets accessible to them so they can make informed choices when they choose to.
Well, all right, so there's so much to unpack there. You're taking away informed choices. An informed choice would be, I can choose a pink razor, I can choose a blue razor. There's a difference here and I can make an informed choice. You're taking away the informed choice. But my problem with your bill is not that you're affecting the profits of retailers. We do that all the time, and sometimes that's a worthwhile thing to do. Sometimes it's not. But you know, to shoehorn this into civil rights, to worry about the weakest among us. The weakest among us were discriminated against when they couldn't go get a hotel room or sit at a lunch counter. The weakest among us can go buy a blue razor and get the blue razor price. The weakest among us can go buy a pink razor and get the pink razor price. So we can talk about the weakest among us, and we can talk about all the history, troubled as it is in this state and more broadly in this nation, for civil rights, but we're talking about pink and blue razors here. We're talking about pink and blue bikes. We're talking about things that, no matter what the characteristic of the purchaser, the price is decided. It's not, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't buy that blue razor at the blue razor price. You're really better off buying the pink razor at the pink razor price, and we're going to insist you do so. That's not what's going on here. That might be an UNRU violation. But this is not protecting me or you or any of us in this state because of our characteristics, which is what the UNRU Act is supposed to get at. So it is not a good fix, no matter how you talk about protecting the weakest among us.
So can I take a stab at it? So, and I understand your concerns, right? There is on its face civil rights violations and discriminations. If I'm a woman and Senator Wesso is a man and we come up with the same blue razor and they charge us differently, that's on its face.
What's if doing in that sentence?
I'm sorry?
If you're a woman and he's a man.
Well, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Just in case people were wondering. Clearly on its face. But there are also actions that are taken that have the effect of causing a civil rights discrimination, that have an effect of discriminatory behavior because of what has been done. And I have to say this, I don't consider myself to be, number one, I'm very cheap. I'm fairly intelligent, and I have bought razors for a long time, right? But as a woman, you walk into a store and you're directed to the women's area to purchase a razor. In what world has somebody ever suggested that, until you look at these, that they're the exact same razor but for the daisies on the outside of the package? Because what I do as a consumer, being fairly cheap still, I look for the cheapest brand, you know, I'm discriminatory on that sense, and fairly intelligent for years, and I know this continues. What you do is you go into the women's department when you're buying a t-shirt for your child, right? And I love that the retailers are coming up here and saying they don't know the difference. I walk into Target and I hate saying any, you know, except Walmart, I hate pointing anyone out. But if I walk into Target, there's a section for girls' t-shirts and there's a section for boys' t-shirts. Now those t-shirts could be exactly the same but for the color, the pattern on the front, and yet they're different prices. So what they are creating is, and how else we get to this, I don't know, right? Maybe we prevent retailers from having a girls and boys section, from having a women and men area. I don't think that's an answer either. What we say is, hey, if you're giving the same product and you're marketing one solely towards women, and you're marketing one solely towards men or girls and boys, and they're the same product, look at these, the exact same product. Don't charge women more. Don't charge men more. Let's charge people as equals. That is, it will have an effect of making sure people look at what they're doing and stop that negative behavior. We can't stop bad lawyers. I understand that. Lawsuits, litigious lawsuits, it's problematic. But what we can do is insist that the people who are selling us and marketing these products don't discriminate by effect in what they're doing in the marketing and in the pricing of these exactly, or substantially similar as you can imagine. And if you take a look at these, I mean, it's sickly. It's exactly the same product, clearly, except by the color.